are you today, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to the Realty Report. Once again, it is your guy with his partner, the Craig and Tony Show, representing the Reality Report with Craig and Tony. What's happening, people? Hope everybody's well. I want to, before we go, let me give some shout outs, and we got a good one tonight. We got it all figured out. I believe somebody else has a link. If you want to pop on at any time, you're more than welcome. Let me give a shout out to Slimity Cricket. Slimity will be dropping your link. Cinnamon Girl, whoever's link you know's got shows, drop their links, please, sweetie. Great to see everybody. Cinnamon, Slimity Cricket, my partner. Who needs no introduction? Dave T from Boston. Dean Dude, my man, 50 grand, like they said in the neighborhood. Bucky, what's good, Papa? Bucky, we saw each other late last night, I think. BX, what's up? What's up, BX? Welcome to the house. You find his number, gentlemen and ladies here. We speak nothing but respect for each other. Yeah, we like a family. BX.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Coming to the stage, my man, Dean Dude. Trying to get you on stage, Dean Dude. Before we, I want to make sure Tony Gatto, I know that guy. I think you know him too, Tone. I think we know him.
It's my buddy, my nephew.
So, Osada Streets, welcome. Thank you for wanting to be with us during this amazing fight classic, as you will see. Cinnamon Girl, you always get a special shout. We all do. Everybody in here gets a special love. Cinnamon Girl is real special. She doesn't mind when, during the week, she sees every post, everything, and always reaches out, and she's one step ahead. Right, Tom? What do you think?
Cinnamon Girl is our lady. She comes, she supports us. She's all right with me.
Absolutely.
I see her in all my chats. I love seeing her.
Bucky, you're right. We're going to get to it. For those that didn't see it, maybe that might be joining in. I know my son's a big boxing guy, boxed a little bit. We all got a story. We'll keep away from that for now. But let me turn it over to my partner.
Dean Du here? Is Dean Du up here?
I'm going to try to get this off so Dean Du can be seen.
What's up, guys? Sorry.
Dean Du, what's up, brother?
How you guys doing?
We're good, brother. Getting ready to do, what we do.
That's right.
It's always a pleasure to have a guy, men amongst men, women that are women. Nothing but respect in here. But there's nothing better for those men that are out there that understand what I mean by it's good to be surrounded by men. And I like to believe that whichever men are in here are men, they know how to act, be respectful, treat women, treat others, not be phonies, fakes, and frauds.
Absolutely.
Turn it over to my partner, Tony Silo. Tony, what's up?
I got Dean texted me this morning. He goes, "Can I come up?" I said, "Can you come up?" Absolutely.
Part of the family.
Before I got out of bed, because I wasn't feeling good last night, I got a big text from Dean. I mean, that makes you feel good when you see somebody who is a content creator, has a show, and texts and wants to be a part of it. So, Dean, dude, thank you very much.
No problem, Tony. Yeah, I mean, especially when, you're doing good shows, sports, that's right up our alleys. And this was a great fight. I said, I want to put, I haven't been up on Craig's show yet. I said, let me go put my 2 cents in on a great fight.
Absolutely.
You haven't been on officially, but you've always, come on the chats, man, when nobody Nothing about me, man. And I appreciate that always.
No problem.
Never.
All right, so here's what we're
I
gonna
want to
do.
shout my man Joe Town Jack out. Man, I see him everywhere. Loyal dude. I see him in other chats that I respect. And when you see that, it kind of makes me think, Tony, like that thing, like-minded people, you know what I mean, seem to
Absolutely.
find themselves, right?
Joe Town's a good guy, man. At first, I thought he was a troll because I never seen it before.
Nah,
And then
man.
I seen the way he talks is so respectful. So
Yeah,
Joe
you
Town,
just know. It's crazy. Like over the internet, you just know, like that's a dude I could have a cold one with,
absolutely.
or in this case, a cup of coffee. But what do you say, Tony? You want to set the table
Right,
before we
so-
get this thing rolling? We got 16 in the house right now.
So let's just find out a little bit about the guys first. First, we got Ron Lyle. This guy was a stone cold thug. I mean, this guy was a badass. He was a badass dude.
Yes, he was. He was.
He did not have his first pro fight till he was 30. And back in those days, that was considered antique. All right,
Yep.
because he was serving an 8-year prison stint where he was actually pronounced dead in prison by the prison
Yep.
doctor. All right.
Exactly.
So what he did was he went on to have 51 fights. He was 43-7-1. All right. He started out 19-0 with 17 KOs. I mean, he had some big victories. He had Vicente Rondon, Jimmy Ellis, and then he fought Buster Mathis Sr. and Mike Tyson fought Buster Mathis Jr.
Right.
After the Buster Mathis fight, they wanted Joe Frazier.
Yeah, we were late, buddy.
They really wanted Frazier, but Frazier's manager, Yancey Durham, said absolutely not. Frazier's management would not let him fight Ron Lyle. So he ended up going to fight Jerry Quarry. Quarry was a big underdog, and Quarry won the fight.
Yeah, he did.
But I mean, this guy beat Ernie Shavers.
Yeah,
He lost to Ali and Jimmy Young, which are no
great
slouches.
fighters. Everybody was great, it seemed, right, Tony, in that era? Heavyweight.
Yeah, man. I mean, he beat Oscar
Jimmy
Benavidez.
Young, I thought, beat Ali that fight, but that's another story.
You know, and he had a couple of tough ones against Jimmy Ellis.
Yeah, without doubt, man. Then Great Page came a little later.
But I was shocked to see the Joe Frazier interview that I looked up. Joe Frazier's management would not let him fight him. So,
like you said, Ron Lyle was the epitome of the street guy going into the ring.
Now you think about it too.
With us, we had a good night last night, brother.
But this guy came in at 30 years old and was beating the crap out of people. If this guy came in and had the opportunities like a Tyson had, he would be just as destructive as Tyson and Frazier was in that size range. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I consider him a heavyweight champ only because he fought every heavyweight champ in that decade.
Oh, he did. He fought Scott Ledoux on Monday Night Fights. Scott Ledoux was supposed to be the next big thing. He knocked him out of the ring.
Yep.
I mean, that was the next white hope. Remember back then, Scott Ledoux?
Yeah. Scott Ledoux from Minnesota. Yep.
Right. Put him to bed. He knocked him right out of the ring at one point.
Yes, he did. And he was a big underdog. Lyle was an underdog in that fight because Ledoux was on his way up.
Right. I mean, he was a huge underdog. The only one that was a disappointment, they said, for him was the Quarry fight because he was so pissed he didn't have Frazier. He really didn't, give it his all in camp. And his own manager and trainer said it. I was watching them today. To go in there and to get 2 knockdowns on this guy, and we're all going to see it in a few minutes, this fight could have went either way at times. And I think something just willed Foreman to win this fight because, honestly, I thought he was done in the second round. I mean, he went down. I thought it was over for him. But then we got Foreman. Go ahead, Dino.
This fight was on a Saturday. I'll never forget it. Wide World of Sports. Me and my grandfather watched this fight together. And
Jason Genova.
Yeah, Jason's a good guy.
Jason, welcome to the show, brother. Yeah, Tony, Tony's a host of this show. So, if he ever wants to do a solo thing, but as you go, we'll hear more and more about things he did in his life. And you might hear sometimes things I've done in my life. But we all have a story to tell, and you're at the right channel because we ain't afraid to tell them, and we speak facts. Meaning, we really should name the show "No Bullshit Allowed." Now that could irritate some, but you know what? Neither one of us or we don't believe in sitting on fences. So I'd rather you know where you stand. We're not fakes and frauds. You might not like it, but you'll respect it like I would. I don't want to know the guy next to me might be talking behind my back or this or that. So you know where you stand with us. Don't have to agree. That's what makes us men and women. You could disagree on something, and it's over with. You have a beer or a drink or whatever it is, a soda in my case, or a seltzer, whatever. Tony, you ready to get rolling here, man? People are amped up.
All right, so let's go, man. We all know what George Foreman's about.
All right. Can I just set
Shoot
the table here, T?
Go ahead.
All right. We're going to show this fight. After each round, I'm going to stop it. I expect it. Whoever hasn't seen it, do your thing. Get crazy in your house. You might hear me do like you see. You might hear me screaming or, oh, totally normal. But after every round, I'll stop it. We're going to give Tony Silo a chance to break down what he saw in that round. And he'll do that every round for 5 rounds. And at the end of this fight, whoever's got an opinion, something to say on this fight, we'll try to keep it organized. Let it out. Let us know what you think. All right? Without further ado, as they said in Carlito's way, let's get to it. I'm going to have to remove a couple people from the stage right now to make room for the play button. Okay?
Go ahead, buddy.
Dean Dool, love you, bud.
Go on, my man.
All right, I'll bring you back on in a minute. I'm even removing myself.
Go ahead, bro.
Trying to find because it's all covering the layout, play buttons. Trying to get me out, Tone, and put you on.
See if we can put that fight up.
Yeah, I'm trying to remove. If I remove myself, though, we're trying to get these comments out for a second because they're covering up the play button. So give us a second. We'll be right. Gianni, welcome. Tone, welcome them in, brother, while I get this play button working.
I got you, man. How you doing? We got Dex Dallas just came in. Todd Father's here. Gianni Catalano, my man. Secret Mafia Grandpa. Made your account yesterday. You ready to rumble? Okay, buddy. We'll see how that works out. That's it. Everybody else has been here. We got Cantaloupe Jones is in the house, my man. He's a good guy. So we got Theme Dude back here with us tonight. Me and Craig are up here. And we're going to do this the right way. Yes, I do, BX. I remember him well. Guy had more tattoos on his shoulders and down his arms than any boxer I've seen.
I'm trying to remove these it's covering up the play button. 1 second.
Yeah, Gianni, this was a good fight, man. It lot of action inside of 5 rounds.
How do we get rid of these exit full screen? Oh, it just was there. What the fuck? Can't get to the play button. You see the play button?
Where's the play button? Down the bottom. Move. Maybe if you remove all of
I'm
us.
trying to do that. Yeah, you see the.
Can you bring it up a little bit?
See how all the things come to the top right on the bottom where the fucking play starts.
Hey, MMA Holds is here. What's up, Maz? How you
MMA
doing,
Holds,
brother?
welcome aboard, brother. Thank you so much for coming in.
Got to wrench him up.
Absolutely.
Once
As
we
soon
get
as I
this fight
figure out how
going.
to get the fucking things off our play button. Need one little space. That's all we need. This might be it. See, they usually put the arrow in the middle, but they didn't.
Where's the arrow on the side?
Wait a minute. It's supposed to hide the chat for now.
Tap it in the middle of the screen.
Well, I can't move them to the middle. It won't let me.
No, tap the play button just on the screen itself. It might play.
Not.
Theodore, you're still here, right?
Ask MMA Holes. That's his thing.
No, Theodore knows where it is. Where's Theodore?
All the things are covering it. All the chats are covering the play button.
All right, so take the chat down, pull the chat off, and then pull us off and put us in the back, and then we'll come back on.
All right. Pull the chats off.
Right.
See? Got one chat there. Let me see if I can remove it. Welcome aboard, Tommy. What's happening?
Osada, how are you, buddy? Benny's here. A nice little crew.
You see what I mean, buddy? It's holding the right on the play button.
Yeah, but if you remove the chat, can you hit the play button?
Yeah, I've removed the chat 100 times, Tom.
Let me see. Where's Theodore? Is he in the back or is he back in the chat?
I'll add him back to the stage. There he is.
Theodore.
Dude, how do we get this chat off the button?
Fred,
How do we get this chat?
take the comment off the screen.
Comments.
Take the comment off the screen and you'll see the arrow.
How do you take the comment off?
Double click on the comment.
Okay. Double click.
Double click on the comment.
Hit it once and then hit it again.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, here, I'll make it easier for you. Click on another comment. Okay, now click on that comment again and wait. The comment should be coming off that screen.
It's not.
Okay, hit Cinnamon Girl's comment one more time. Click on it.
There we go. Yeah, we had it for a second. Oh. don't get it. It's just
I
covering.
don't know.
It's covering the whole fucking play button. Oh, wait a
It
minute.
should.
This is what happened before.
Todd Father saying double clicking.
Right. No. When you click on that comment you have on the screen, it should come right off the
Yeah,
screen.
but the arrow's right there, and now the arrow's not moving. Give us a second. We'll have this on in a second. I'm going to flip-flop the screens. Amazing.
We're working on it, Gianni. We're working on it. He'll get it.
Yeah, you see the arrow is not giving me any
What if you made it smaller to start?
yeah, it's small.
I don't know if I can't see it, so I'm not sure. Antonio's saying throw his fight tape up there.
Yeah.
Is it in the ring or in the street, Tony?
Yeah, I'm positive. Fucking disaster.
Gianni, at least you're getting some comical talk here. It's not like Tyson and
Yeah.
Spinks.
Hey, guys, go ahead, figure it out. I got to go help the wife out a second. I'll come back in.
All right, take it easy there. We'll see you
All
in a
right,
minute.
guys.
Let me see.
Hold on, Tom. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go live right from YouTube, and then we'll come back into the chat, okay? Tony, we're going to go right from YouTube and go right back to the chat, okay?
Sounds like a plan. Let it rip.
All right, it's coming on right now. Here we go.
Go YouTube.
And
South, the Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. Joe
Thanks, bud.
Lewis, just
It
introduced
wouldn't
by
play from
ring
stream, though.
announcer Chuck Hall.
thanks.
And the fighters have just come into the ring. Ron Lyle at 220, George Foreman at a deceptive 226. I say deceptive because he looks lithe and supple. With me to work this fight, Ken Norton, currently the #1 rated contender for the heavyweight crown. And in the meantime, Ken told you at the top of this telecast that what he wanted to see about George Foreman was whether or not he was mentally settled. No secret about it. Many have felt that Foreman's psyche was materially damaged by the disaster in Zaire of 15 months ago. As for Ron Lyle, question there will be,
All right, at least we
will
got
he
a
be
run,
able
right?
to get to Foreman? And yet, in the long
All right,
run,
cool. We got it running.
if
All right, now
Lyle
here
can
we go.
survive the first 5
We're going to
rounds,
switch back
he
and
is the
forth,
better
okay?
bet to win the fight. Foreman's
You got it.
stamina having
But you can
become
see it. Everybody can
suspect
see
in
it
the
fun, right?
Zaire affair. Now let's
Good.
talk about George
All right, guys,
Foreman.
enjoy.
There's been talk of a
We had to
change
do
in
it this
his
way.
style since he's gotten the new
Got it up and
manager
running. Here we go.
trainer, the
Let's
veteran
enjoy
and
this
wise
fight.
Gil Clancy. Can a fighter change his style this late in the game?
I feel that he can change it in the gym, but once he gets into the heat of battle and gets hit, he's very
We'll
subject to
chat
go back
it
to
up
what he knows
after.
best.
Go back to the chat.
Okay, we're going to be back. More talk with Ken in just one moment. All right, apparently we have just a few seconds left. And now the commercial is upcoming. Okay, we're back live at ringside. The Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace. The fight about a minute away. George Foreman, former heavyweight champion, against Ron Lyle. Chuck Hall, the ring announcer, is now making his welcoming speech to a very good crowd, which has virtually filled the Sports Pavilion. Foreman's record, of course, 40 victories, just 1 defeat, the knockout by Ali in the 8th round in Zaire. Lyle with a record of 31. 3-1. He lost a TKO affair to Ali here in Las Vegas last May. Jerry Quarry beat him, and then Jimmy Young unexpectedly beat him in Hawaii. The referee just announced by ring announcer Chuck Hall is Charlie Roth. Remember when Charlie Roth was a light heavyweight contender? He's about 50 years now. That's the introduction of Ron Lyle.
World, fighting out of Livermore, California, weighing 226 pounds, introducing George Foreman.
Okay, the ring introductions of the riders finished. Kenny Norton, sitting to my right, will be scoring this fight for us unofficially. We'll be bringing you up to date throughout the course of the fight on Kenny's scoring and, of course, his comments interspersed during the course of the fight. The referee, then, Charlie Roth, age 50. Refereed around the Cincinnati and Pittsburgh area for a long number of years. Just look at this. The face of George Foreman and, for that matter, of Ron Lyle, each speaking for itself. Crossroads fight for each fighter. If Foreman is to come back and get another shot at the crown, he must win this fight, and it would help to win it impressively. As for Lyle, well, he couldn't beat Ali. He couldn't beat Quarry. If he's to continue, he'll be 34 years of age shortly. Foreman was just 27. He's got to win. A wild, almost amateurish right as Lyle came charging out. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. George lagging his right leg behind him in the manner that Frazier did against Ali in the last 2 fights between those two. The effect of that is really to cut off the ring. Lyle is not a bad boxer, though he has a tendency to let the hand stay too low. So far, as you can see, fighters feeling each other out. Lyle showing foot movement. George stalking, lagging the back leg, but not yet connecting with a stiff left jab. He tried to get first one in, didn't get it through. The second got in. I must say, Kenny, George appears to be in much better condition than in that abortive thing in Toronto last May against the 5 fighters.
That's very true. He looks very good. He's using a very good jab. Very stiff, very
Lyle got in a good left. George's face went back. Lyle has never been afraid of anything. He doesn't know the meaning of the word fear. You know the Lyle story. 7.5 years in Colorado State prison. Learned to fight there. And as I told you earlier, fought Ali here last May, and Ali scored an 11th round TKO. A good right by Lyle. A good right by Lyle, and he's got Foreman in trouble. He's got him in trouble. George staggering off the ropes, and Lyle all over him. A surprising trend of events. George looking over here to Gil Clancy, sitting right next to me for instructions. You see George in trouble. A late flurry by Lyle, staggering George, who comes wobbling really back toward his corner. We're not breaking for a commercial. The round not only run Lyle, but the punishment and the damage. Let's look at it in slow motion, Kenny.
Okay, here he goes, a very good right hand. Very good right hand by Lyle there. He set him up good with a jab, but he got a little excited at the end and couldn't really take care of it. As I said before, Howard, it shows that Lyle has no fear of Foreman, none at all.
No fear in Ron Lyle at all. Good punching power in either hand.
Tony, you out there? You want to give any breakdown of what you saw in that first round?
Well, what happened right there was Foreman come in a little weary. You know, this is his first real fight. Forget about right after Ali came back with a comeback. He fought 5 bums up in Canada. There was a nightmare. It was just a disgrace to boxing. But this is his first fight after the Rumble in the Jungle. And he came out a little rusty and he was a little weary. You know, he had just gotten embarrassed and knocked out by Muhammad Ali, and he was a favorite in that fight. So the first round goes to Lyle, and Lyle showed that he was not afraid right off a jump. But this is where it gets to give and take. Let's get to the second round, and we're really going to see the other side of this fight now.
Okay.
And guys, pay attention to this second round because something very big happens in this second round, and it has nothing to do with punches.
Right.
Let it rip. Let it rip, Greg.
All right, you all. I'm going to let it rip. And after the fight, we'll get back into the chats, and we're going to ask you what happened in that second round. Here we go.
Nothing wrong with Ron Lyle's left. As I said at the very top of the telecast, if Ron Lyle can do any one thing, he can punch. But I don't see any of the old Foreman confidence. The guy who knocked you out in the second round, Kenneth. Where is he?
I feel he has the confidence. I feel that this round he must come out fighting and take over, be very dominant.
The voice of Kenny Norton at ringside with yours truly.
If he isn't dominant, pardon me, Howard, if he isn't dominant this round, then Lyle will get very confident and run away.
Lyle right at him, but again with a wild swing. George trying to move, bouncing on his toes. That's the first time George got in 2 good short left jabs, and that's what he must do. Well, Lyle with a good left. George fighting back now.
Howard, as you can see, Lyle is giving Foreman no respect, and he's pressing the action now.
That could be a mistake, Kenny.
It could be.
George is fighting back now.
He's fighting back, but Lyle's very aggressive there, and he's catching most of the punches with his glove.
See that right come around and land on Foreman. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. And the advisors are yelling to Foreman, keep those hands up. Now Lyle is hurt. Now Lyle is hurt. Quickly, Foreman landed a left and a right and another left, and Lyle's in trouble. He's against the ropes trying to cover. Now let's see if George has learned what to do with an opponent against the ropes. Certain it is, he didn't know what to do in Zaire. Look at that left of Foreman's get in there. And it's a different Lyle now. He's a little shaky. The leg's just a little rubbery. Foreman is a tremendous puncher. No question about that. Ken Norton can attest to that. I told you we'd have a slugfest, and that's what we've got.
Very good counter right hand by Lyle there. Very good.
Two active rounds. Two very active rounds, and the crowd loving it. You heard Kenny say he came back with a good counter right. Lyle did. We'll be back.
Come on.
I want to check.
All right, guys.
Tony,
What happened? Okay, what happened there is Foreman started piling it on. And I got to tell you, if you look at Lyle's legs at about 41 seconds into the round, he really was hurt. And he admitted after the fight he was hurt that bad. But the big mistake here was the timekeeper ended the round at 2 minutes instead of 3. So Foreman got cheated out of a minute more that he could have did some serious damage there. That was only a 2-minute round. And that was some kind of discrepancies over that. I mean, if Foreman would have lost this fight, we would have never heard the end of it because, and it's the truth. I mean, he had the guy on the ropes. He admitted that was the most hurt he was even when he got knocked down during the fight. And when he heard the bell ring and the corner heard the bell ring, they were like, what the hell is going on? And then it came out that the referee cut it by a minute. He made that round 2 minutes instead of 3. And that was the big thing there. He cheated him.
Hey, Tone, I just
Yes,
want
sir.
you to know I got a great MMA, one of the top trainers in the world. Listen to you break down the fight. He just texted me. He's going to jump in the chat, hopefully. If not, whatever. That's Mr. Ray Longo. He said you're doing a great job, and this is one of his greatest fights of all time.
All right, Ray. What's up, buddy? How are you?
All right, so here we go. Round 3. Great job. Hope everybody's
All right,
enjoying
thank you,
it.
guys.
We'll get back to the chat. Here we go.
Hey,
round
hold
3.
on. Give Angel Gotti a wrench. Angel, what's up, sweetie? How are you?
Timekeeper here.
Angel, how are you, Angel?
Wrench up
Tony,
in
I
there.
got Angel from the phone. I'll get her a wrench right away.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go, round 3.
Official timekeeper is John Worth. George, will you check this? Because by my clock, that round was only 2 minutes. Well, everything happens in fights. We'll find out about it. Now, this fight is being scored on the 5-point must system. Mandatory 8 count. In Nevada, uniquely, they also allow for a standing 8 count, which is what you see in amateur boxing in the discretion of the referee. The fight is scored by 3 judges. The referee has no voice in the scoring. I'm advised that our clock was wrong, that the round indeed went 3 minutes. There'll be no saving by the bell. Fight is, by the way, using 8-ounce gloves. New York and California require 10-ounce gloves. 8-ounce gloves, less padding, greater damage from the blows. More punishment, more knockdowns likely.
Howard, if you notice, Ron Lyle's over right hand is working very well on Foreman's left hand. His left hand is down, and Ron's going right over with an overhand right.
By the way, Ken Norton unofficially scored, of course, the first round for Lyle, the second round for George Foreman. I tell you, Kenny, Lyle must be careful. You're right about the use of the right. There it was again, over Foreman's left. But Foreman's jab is beginning to get to Lyle's head, and Foreman's power is so punishing that he can end the fight at any time.
That's very true, but he can't afford to let Foreman really get off. He's got to be more aggressive and kind of force the action. If he gets Foreman punching room and wait and utilize his power, then this is all in Foreman's favor.
Agreed.
George, hook to the body, George. Get out, hook to the body.
Lyle in the corner against the ropes.
But then again, Howard, I think Lyle is playing possum. He's trying to wait for Foreman to throw a right hand.
Lyle just threw a good right hand, Kenny. Gil Clancy screaming, hook to the body, George. Hook to the body. George just tried to hook to the body in response to Clancy's exhortations, but he didn't get through Lyle's guard.
Howard Foreman is pawing, looking for the one big shot there, and Lyle's trying to counter.
Less than 20 seconds left, and this the third round. Foreman the red trunks, Lyle the white. Lyle with a very good counter right. The right has been Lyle's best weapon against Foreman thus far in the fight. Approaching the end of the round. We're back for the start of round 4 in what has been a very active...
All right, well, it's time to get this thing started. How about if we take a look at...
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right, Tony, break that down.
All right, what happened in that round there? You can see Lyle really wasn't getting off. He was basically taking a rest from the damage he got in round 2. But George was really supposed to go to the body is what his trainers wanted him to do. But he was a little weary of going inside because I think he was afraid of getting countered. And I think you'll see in the next round why. I had that round slightly for Foreman. But let's go to round 4.
But he got a little excited at the end.
Okay, we ready?
Go ahead,
As I
shoot.
said before, Howard, it shows that Lyle has no fear.
Here we go.
None at all.
No fear in Ron Lyle at all.
Everybody
No
sees
punching
fine?
power in either hand. Nothing wrong with Ron Lyle's left.
I got
Tony,
you.
you good?
Let's go.
Everybody sees
Perfect. Perfect.
If Ron
Okay.
Lyle can do any one thing, he can punch. But I don't see any of the old Foreman confidence. The guy who knocked you out in the second round, Kennedy. Where is he?
I feel he has the confidence. I feel that this round he must come out fighting and take over, be very dominant.
The voice of Kenny Norton at ringside with yours truly.
If he isn't dominant, pardon me, Howard, if he isn't dominant this round, then Lyle will get very confident and run away.
Lyle right at him, but again with a wild swing. George trying to move, bouncing on his toes. That's the first time George got in 2 good short left jabs, and that's what he must do. Lyle with a good left. George fighting back now.
Howard, as you can see, Lyle is giving Foreman no respect, and he's pressing the action now.
That could be a mistake, Kenny.
It's good because
George is fighting back now.
He's fighting back, but Lyle's very aggressive there, and he's catching most of the punches with his glove.
See that right come around and land on Foreman. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. And the advisors are yelling to Foreman, keep those hands up. Now Lyle is hurt. Now Lyle is hurt. Quickly, Foreman landed a left and a right and another left, and Lyle's in trouble. He's against the ropes trying to cover. Now let's see if George has learned what to do with an opponent against the ropes. Certain it is, he didn't know what to do in Zaire. Look at that left of Foreman's get in there. And it's a different Lyle now. He's a little shaky. The leg's just a little rubbery. Foreman is a tremendous puncher. No question about that. Ken Norton can attest to that. I told you we'd have a slugfest, and that's what we've got.
Very good counter right hand by Lyle there. Very good.
Two active rounds. 2 very active rounds, and the crowd loving it. You heard Kenny say, staggered Foreman. Had him rubbery leg. Foreman retreated. The second round, George coming back fighting. George now looking over to Gil Clancy right next to him. getting instructions from Gil. If Gil is anything, he's a teacher. Master's degree in recreation. He's been teaching all his life.
You have to do that,
Less
folks.
than 20 seconds left in this
Have to do
all
that.
round.
Now go
Ball in
around.
the red trunks. Lyle
Go
the
back
white.
in the third
Lyle with
round.
a very good
All right.
counter right. The right has been Lyle's best weapon against Foreman thus far in the fight. Approaching the end of the round.
Punching room.
Fourth round from the beginning.
Power.
All right, this is 4.
Agreed.
This is 4.
Lyle
Yep.
in the white. And the advisors are yelling to
Oh, now it's time for him to get screwed up.
Now Lyle is hurt.
We're in 3 now, right?
Lyle is hurt.
Yeah, we're in 3.
Foreman
Okay,
lands
good.
a left and a right and another left, and Lyle's in trouble. He's against the ropes trying to cover. Now let's see if George has learned what to do with an opponent against the ropes. Certain it is, he didn't know what to do in Zaire. Look at that left of Foreman's get in there. And it's a different Lyle now. He's a little shaky. The leg's just a little rubbery. Foreman is a tremendous puncher. No question about that. Ken Norton can attest to that. I told you we'd have a slugfest, and that's what we've got.
Very good counter right hand by Lyle there. Very good.
Two active rounds. 2 very active rounds, and the crowd loving it. You heard Kenny say he came back with a good counter right. Lyle did. We'll be back.
We're going to let it roll, guys. No, we're not going to break it down.
Check.
Let it roll, and we'll break down at the end of 4.
You got it.
The official timekeeper is John Worth. George, will you check this? Because by my clock, that round was only 2 minutes.
You're
Well,
in 3.
everything happens in fights. We'll find out about it. Now, this fight is being scored on the 5-point must system. Mandatory 8 count. In Nevada, uniquely, they also allow for a standing 8 count, which is what you see in amateur boxing in the discretion of the referee. The fight is scored by 3 judges. The referee has no voice in the scoring. I'm advised that our clock was wrong, that the round indeed went 3 minutes. There'll be no saving by the bell. Fighters, by the way, using 8-ounce gloves. New York and California require 10-ounce gloves. 8-ounce gloves, less padding, greater damage from the blows. More punishment, more knockdowns likely.
Howard, if you notice, Ron Lyle's over right hand is working very well on Foreman's left hand. His left hand is down, and Ron's going right over. It's an overhand right.
By the way, Ken Norton unofficially scored, of course, the first round for Lyle, the second round for George Foreman. I tell you, Kenny, Lyle must be careful. You're right about the use of the right. There it was again, over Foreman's left. But Foreman's jab is beginning to get to Lyle's head, and Foreman's power is so punishing that he can end the fight at any time.
That's very true, but he can't afford to let Foreman really get off. He's got to be more aggressive and kind of force the action. If he gets Foreman punching room and utilize his power, then this is all in Foreman's favor.
Agreed. Lyle in the corner against the ropes.
But then again, Howard, I think Lyle is playing possum. He's trying to wait for Foreman to throw a right hand.
Lyle just threw a good right hand, Kenny. Gil Clancy screaming, hook to the body, George. Hook to the body. George just tried to hook to the body in response to Clancy's exhortations, but he didn't get through Lyle's guard.
Howard Foreman is pawing, looking for the one big shot there. And Lyle's trying to counter.
Less than 20 seconds left, and this is the third round. Foreman the red trunks, Lyle the white. Lyle with a very good counter right. The right has been Lyle's best weapon against Foreman thus far in the fight. Approaching the end of the round.
State Farm agent Jerry Black talks about life insurance.
Money's important. It's important to me like it is to everyone else. However, there's a great deal of satisfaction derived from being a State Farm agent that has nothing to do with money. It has to do with helping your fellow person, helping a family, developing a life insurance plan which will satisfy their needs not only today, but 30 years from now.
State Farm is there.
See these balloons? They explode very easily. And we're going to drive a loaded 76 Ford pickup next to this wall of balloons over these bone-jarring 4x4s. One torch goes on the wheel and one to the door. Watch the suspension take a real pounding as the torch explodes the balloons. But the torch attached to the door doesn't. That's because Ford's exclusive twin I-beam suspension is designed to take punishment and not deliver jolts to the body. 93 out of 100 Ford trucks built since '63 are still on the job.
We're back for the start of round 4 in what has been a very active fight thus far. The first round, Lyle staggered Foreman, had him rubbery leg. Foreman retreated. The second round, George coming back fighting. George now looking over to Gil Clancy right next to him, getting instructions from Gil. If Gil is anything, he's a teacher. Master's degree in recreation. He's been teaching all his life. Whether boxers, kids playing in the playground, or a good right by Lyle. Kenny, you're right. He's been using that right beautifully over Foreman's left.
That is very effective. However, we just found out for sure that the second round was only 2 minutes long.
That's correct. Chet Forty, our producer, retimed the second round in our truck. Lyle all over. Lyle has Foreman in trouble. Foreman is down. It started with a right, then a left. Foreman looking over here.
Oh!
The neutral corner. The mandatory 8 count. Foreman.
He was looking to hit him right on the button when he was going down again.
I can't believe he gets up.
Tremendous demonstration.
Wow, watch this round's exciting, guys. Keep an eye on the screen.
Remember how invincible George Foreman looked through 40 bouts. The man who knocked out Frazier in the second round to win the title. The man who knocked out Ken Norton, the man next to me in Caracas, Venezuela, in the second round. What's happened to him? Well, in the 15 months since Zaire, he's been relatively inactive, except for that charade in Toronto against the frightful Pod. Now, Foreman fighting back. Oh, Foreman is in trouble. Lyle caught him with a good left. Now, George. Now, George struck back. Now, George fought back with a magnificent right.
Oh, unbelievable.
Now, this is what you call fighting. Get knocked down on your ass and get right back up and keep going. Watch this.
It makes me want to get knocked out.
A minute to go in a wild fight.
So now you got one knockdown each right now going into this.
What a chin.
It ain't over yet, guys. It ain't over yet this round.
Lyle is down.
You're
Ready
banging.
to go.
Oh,
Against the rope.
fucking Foreman hit like a house and Lyle beaten.
About 40 seconds left in the round.
Man.
Lyle covering up against the rope. His handler screaming to Foreman.
Here it comes.
George at the head. Lyle is now wide open. He is. Lyle trying to swing back. This isn't artistic, but it is slugging.
Look at these shots.
The public wants it.
Unbelievable.
Lyle now
Yeah.
trying to fight back. Only 10 seconds left in the round. Now Foreman was staggered. Foreman was staggered by a Lyle left. Foreman goes down. Foreman goes down. Lyle
God
fights
damn.
back. Lyle,
Unbelievable.
Foreman, there's no saving by the bell, but Foreman is up. Foreman is up. What a fight, Kenny.
Well, the slugger's best.
All right, stop that if you
Both
can.
men are leaving themselves wide open.
You want me to pause it?
Pause it if you can. All right, guys. One of the questions in the chat was these two gentlemen are using 8-ounce gloves. I'll give you a for instance. Guys fighting in
8 ounce?
8-ounce gloves in this fight. I'll give you a comparison. These guys are 250 and 230 pounds. Guys that are 147 pounds today use 10-ounce gloves.
Unbelievable.
All right. So these lightweights use 8-ounce. A super lightweight and under, down to featherweight, use 8-ounce gloves. All right. But could you imagine? You will not see a fighter today get up or for any one of them knockdowns. They'll lay there and take their money. That's why this was one of the most exciting heavyweight fights ever. All right, man. You can let it roll. We're going into the 5th and final round, but watch this close, guys.
Here we go.
As Kenny said, both fighters leave themselves wide open. Call it over the slow-mo, Kenny.
Here we go right now. Both fighters leave themselves wide open. They're both relying totally on power here.
Yeah, Bucky, I did.
He was hurt. He comes back and staggers Lyle.
I didn't think Foreman was getting up.
Very good Lyle punch. They're both working very hard. They're both utilizing their power for getting boxing.
As I said, I would hardly call this an artistic affair, but at the very beginning, we told you we looked for a slugfest. And most people, remembering George's absence of stamina,
You're right,
had
brother.
the feeling if Lyle could get past the 5th round, his chances would materially improve.
That's very true. And Lyle has been known to come on in the later rounds. He's very good. His stamina's very good. His punching power is good. And so now the question is if George can recover.
Now he knew he had to get him out of there quick because this guy got stronger as fights went on.
Inside with Howard COSELL. 5th round action underway.
Howard from here on in, I think it's going to be a match of power and a match of stamina. I think Lyle has the middle edge right here.
Foreman has so much power. Every punch is thrown short.
Well, because he had so much power going in, it didn't matter. He knew how to snap it. It was a snap of the wrist with his punches.
Oh. Foreman holding on.
Oh,
here we go, Howard.
Oh!
All over the ring.
Yeah! And I watched this as a kid. Oh, this is even better the second time.
Well, because you got the appreciation of a good fight now watching the garbage we're getting today.
Oh, man.
Which is very good for Lyle's hook and overhand right.
Incredible.
Foreman looking over here at Clancy for advice, and yet he doesn't even seem to be with it. Kenny made the point that George's hands are down, and so they are. George is falling forward over Lyle, trying to hit back.
Look at these shots.
Fight, Howard. Total guts here and power.
Oh,
George got a
man.
series of left jabs in there, then a right.
Oh, you see that body shot?
Well, that's what they wanted him to do earlier.
Oh!
Uppercut by Lyle. Foreman again in trouble. You see him falling forward.
Oh, man, look at this. Shit, I thought
Hold on. This round is a long way from over. Watch the end of this round.
Oh!
What an incredible fight. Utterly without boxing skills. Just punching away. Each fighter in turn leaving himself open.
Fucking COSELL, nobody better. And I hated him. He hated the field. Look at these shots. Oh, face plant. Wow. He's dead.
Punching him again and again and again.
I'll tell you, Ron Lyle, what a heart.
This time it may be over. This time it may be over.
Guy couldn't. He had nothing in the gas tank left. This poor guy.
In the 5th round by George Foreman.
All right, I'm giving it another minute or two, then we're going to go back to the chat.
Let's just let it go and we can explain what happened from there.
Yep.
First one, then the other. Foreman flawed twice. Foreman flawed twice in the 4th round, coming back to win. And in just a moment, we'll be back. I'm going up into the ring to talk with George Foreman.
And out at the Winter Olympics. Coverage starts February 3rd.
Craig, you can shut it off. We can go.
All right, here we go. You're going to see me come back up on screen, and I'll make it switch.
Knockout
All right,
of
brother.
Lyle, George Foreman, in one of the wildest, most topsy-turvy scraps we have ever seen. A, George, congratulations. B, when you're
Back in the house,
for the
boys.
second time in the 4th.
All right, man. We picked this fight tonight because I went over fights that guys would appreciate. That you're not going to see this no more. You don't get to see this any longer. I mean, I could say I watched the last Ngannou and Fury in Saudi Arabia. Fury looked disheveled after one of them. Fury would never, ever be able to stay in the round with either one of these guys at this time. And that was a question that's been coming up a lot lately. So I said, let's pick a real heavyweight slugfest and let's compare it there. Does anybody in this chat think Fury would have beat either one of these gentlemen? Let's see what you guys want to say on that one.
Hold on, I'm showing some highlights. I think you might want to speak to them.
Yeah, they're just going to recap the highlights of the fight. You can let it roll. Yeah, let it roll as we talk. But does anybody think BX Fury would get destroyed? I agree. Gianni Fury, no chance. Slimany, no chance. Dave T, absolutely not. Now, guys, you got to remember something. They gave Ron Lyle this fight on about 3 weeks' notice.
Ronnie Lyle, what a tough guy, bro.
What you know what, Bucky, good point. I picked that up. He had the same motion when he came back, when he did his return to boxing, but he did have speed on that jab back in those days. You know, and the best thing about Foreman was when you would watch him train on the videos, he actually dented heavy bags.
Yeah, bro. I'll tell you, you know, all the years of watching Foreman, how short his punches were with so much power, though. Incredible.
Chris Gorky, I honestly think Lennox Lewis would hold Fury off at bay.
Yeah.
I think his jab would be, but I don't think Lennox Lewis. I don't think Lennox Lewis would be able to go in there and trade with him. But I think he was a good enough boxer where he could have held him at bay and won the fight, and he might have clipped him and knocked him down a couple of times.
ALV, I see you in the house. Going to get your wrench right now, ALV.
Gianni, what the problem is there? Fury looks doughy because he's got a lot of dough in his bank account. You know, you lose a lot of that hunger when you just hit over $145 million made in the ring.
Secret Mafia Grandpa, welcome to the club. Thank you for joining us, Secret Mafia Grandpa.
You know, but you know, the question comes: would Tyson have beat either one of these guys in this day? I don't think so. You know, this was pure two men beating down each other.
They were banging it out.
And remember something: this is a man, Ron Lyle, who was pronounced dead in prison. That's how shitty they treat the prisoners.
Right?
Yeah, they the prison doctor pronounced him dead.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing, yeah, you gotta remember something. Ernie Shavers was a great fighter. Ron Lyle beat Ernie Shavers. I mean, Ron Lyle, you know, beat some real good guys in his day. I mean, he beat Vicente Rondon, great fighter. He beat Jimmy Ellis, a great fighter. Buster Mathis Sr., who his son fought, Buster Mathis Jr. fought Mike Tyson. He was a great fighter. Jimmy Ellis was also a light heavyweight champ. And like I said, Frazier's people weren't stupid. They would not put Joe Frazier in the ring with Ron Lyle. They said absolutely not. They wouldn't do it. And what happened was he was the type of guy that if you didn't give him the fight that he really wanted, he didn't train as hard, Ron Lyle, for some of them. He went in there with a lot of natural ability. Some fights he trained 2-3 weeks. All right, compared to what other guys were doing. And that's when he got upset by Jerry Quarry, and there was just nothing they could do. You know, then they had to really kind of restart it because he wasn't liked by the WBA, the WBC. Nobody really cared for him at that time because I think they were afraid. He wasn't a marketable guy, but he was a great fighter. You know, and that's the way it goes.
Good call, Tone, on that call. That was a good call. Way to break that down. Honestly, way to break that down. Just
I mean, we really got
what your opinion was. Awesome.
Tyson was definitely quicker, but I don't know if Tyson could have took these guys' punches. This was a lot different power than you're seeing now. You got to remember something, Todd Father.
15 rounds.
8-ounce gloves and 15 rounds. They definitely would have been able to stay in there longer with Tyson.
You got MMA guys using 6 ounces, 8 ounces for these guys. Come on, man. It's like you're getting hit with a fist with wraps on.
And these are big boys.
Those are bag gloves, basically, right, Tony? 8 ounce? I mean, it's kind of like a bag glove, no? I don't know the exact weight on a bag glove.
It was almost like speed bag gloves when they were trying to make them use the speed bag. You know, I mean, at this point, you do you realize they had to open up the bottom of the seams because these men were, one was 6'4", 240, one was 6'2", 6'3", 230. They had to open up the seams because their hands wouldn't fit in the regular formatted 8-ounce glove. So they had to customize the fit inside for their hands. But what happened here was Ron Lyle went to the hospital. He actually passed out in the locker room. This guy was so dehydrated. He was so dehydrated and so exhausted. George Foreman himself said the only reason that fight ended the way it did was because this man was completely exhausted. Wow. Foreman even came out and said it. And back then, Foreman was a real prick. Foreman gave nobody credit back in those days. And he said this guy, Cleveland Williams, and Jerry Cooney were the 3 hardest hitters he's ever seen. And he was in with all 3 of them.
Yeah. I see the comment here. BX Tyson.
He didn't fight him. He didn't fight him.
For a second. Yeah. And you got it. Tyson couldn't take those hits. No way. I made it clear I wasn't a huge Tyson guy. That's not to take away from his talent. I think Mike showed, and forget about 4 other fights that he lost in the first fight that he lost, which was the biggest upset. He had heart, but long, big, rangy guys with a big reach gave him problems. And it showed. But, Buster Douglas, was his first. And it was, long, reachy. Tony, if I'm wrong, speak on it.
Buster Douglas had the night of his life.
No, whatever that, he did what he did.
But Buster Douglas really
doesn't matter.
Buster Douglas really couldn't take the greatest punch in the world. I mean, look what Holyfield did to him.
Yeah, a lot of jabs and an uppercut.
Tony Tucker. You also got to remember, Tyson was the only partying in Japan. He wasn't there to fight.
He was party, but that's what happens when you don't train, right?
Yeah. And Bucky asked a question here. He said Foreman had a 10-year layoff. Yeah, he went actually 77, and he came back in late 87.
And beat Michael Moore. Right? Won the belt back.
But knocked him out in the 10th round. But Chris Gorky, Frank Bruno.
I spoke to Chris. I told him he's on next Tuesday with us.
All right. Frank Bruno did not come into that fight to fight Tyson. Because if you go back and watch when he fought Lennox Lewis until he got stopped, what a competitive fight that was. Bruno was intimidated from the time he got off the plane. He wasn't used to the large entourages around him. He wasn't used to fighting outside of England. Bruno just didn't go in there to fight him. But when he did fight a little bit, he wasn't bad. But I like the Razor Ruddock fight, and I think if Razor Ruddock would have been trained properly, Razor Ruddock would have gave Mike Tyson a lot more problems.
Razor Ruddock, right?
He fought in November.
Kelly's got a question for you, Tone.
What's up?
I think we owe Kelly an answer. Can you answer that, Fidel?
I watched a 12-part documentary called The Kings. Kelly, we're going to cover that within the next couple of weeks. I'm working on it.
Yeah, you'll have to give me the I'll have to do my work on that one.
Great series, great 4 fighters that they had. I mean, Bruno was Chris. I had this conversation with Phil Borger, trainer Kevin Kelly.
Yeah.
Frank Bruno was just scared. Even when he got off the plane and you see them in the hotel, he wasn't used to the atmosphere outside of England. And I mean, you got to remember something. They got off that plane with 4 people and Frank Bruno. Mike Tyson had about like a Mayweather entourage around him back then. He was petrified, it looked like, at the weigh-in. I thought the guy with the most potential, and he was just never trained because he knocked out everybody with that left hook, was Razor Ruddock. And when he hit Tyson one fight, he spun his head around. And there's a guy who just took the shots, but he couldn't go no further. Forget about the first Ruddock-Tyson fight. The referee, I think, bet Tyson that fight. Tyson was a better fighter than Ruddock, but if Ruddock was trained properly, you never know.
I can't disagree. I'm just listening to the nuggets, and I was a huge boxing fan. My dad, passed boxing on to us, from a fan standpoint. So we watched every fight, I mean, I don't think there was a fight we missed, whatever we could see until that, me and Ray Longo were talking about this when we talked on our little interview, when we were saying, we remember the days, and I know Benny, if he's still there, a lot of people remember, a lot of guys remember the days when we had to go to movie theaters to watch the pay-per-view events. It wasn't called back then. Remember the days, Tony, going to a movie theater?
I went to Fresh Meadows to see Duran Leonard with my father.
Yeah.
Two.
I went to the quartet.
Yeah. So we're going to get into these older fights, Duran and Leonard,
Yeah,
Leonard and Hearns.
You know, this shows that people want to see this stuff, man, and we're going to bring it to them, right? This is a great idea.
And I'm glad you guys stuck in there with us. We are new to this. We are getting better. We're going to work our hardest to get better and better for you guys.
Absolutely. We're relentless. It won't stop.
Dave T. Hagler was a beast.
Let me see. Yeah.
If he didn't,
we got my boy Loomis in the house. And OG, thank you for coming in, guys. Tony, Loomis and OG Mike from Hard Truth Reviews. Great dudes.
What's up, OG Mike? Dave T. If Hagler,
you guys up.
If Hagler didn't get robbed, he would have went on to win another 5 fights and retired happy.
Give me a second, guys. I'm going to rent you up.
Good. Hagler was already, in the backseat when that fight started. They wanted Sugar Ray Leonard to win that fight in the worst way, and they were going to find any way to do it. Hagler also stayed conventional way too long. Hagler was a southpaw. He should have stayed southpaw. He should have never started that fight conventional. He gave away a couple of rounds early, if you want to say it was that close.
Wyatt Earp, thanks for coming in, Wyatt Earp. I'm going to get you wrenched right now. To go back to what you said, I think you were talking Hagler Hearns or Hagler Leonard?
Hagler Leonard we were talking about.
Right. Of course, I told you I couldn't stand Sugar Ray. It was great. And so in my house, we were all rooting for Hagler. And Hagler started slow, but I think maybe if you choose that one to be the next one or whichever, I think we're going to see that fight is closer. Leonard probably wins the decision, but it's closer than what we thought when we watched it the first time.
I thought Hagler won it the first time and then 10 times, 12 times after. I still got Hagler winning every time.
We go back, we'll watch fights 3 or 4 times because we're emotional, especially if we know guys that are fighting, or we're fans of the guys, or we might know them personally, whether it's MMA or boxers. I grew up with Freddie, Liberatore, all these guys, Kevin Kelly. I grew up with them, went to school with them. So it's hard not to, be all in, regardless. Now they won. But, so while you're watching it, just like a football, you can't be really objective until you watch it that second and third time. And I do that with football. You do, you're the boxing.
But to take a middleweight champ who is that good for the sport and rob him on pay-per-view and then to celebrate Leonard the way Leonard was celebrated after that.
Yeah.
That was the biggest bullshit in the world.
I couldn't stand him. And I thought not for nothing. I don't want to, old grapes and all that shit. Hearns had him beat. I don't know if we go back to it someday, we could say the ref should have stopped it. I'm not sure. Anyway, Hearns had him beat, got hit with a shot, lost the fight. They stopped it. Second fight, Hearns won that fight. No fucking doubt. It was a draw.
Well, now I tell you how much of a prick Sugar Ray Leonard is, and I don't need to stay on it. I tell you how much of a prick Leonard was. Sugar Ray. Now Hearns is not aging as well as Sugar Ray. All right, Hearns is aging a little rougher. He looks much older. You know what I mean? He went through a lot more battles, and he had a lot more fights than Sugar Ray at the end. Sugar Ray came onto the stage on Mike Tyson's podcast and wanted to knock him out on the stage there. That's a classless piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't like him. I loved it when Terry Norris gave him an ass kicking at the Garden that night.
So,
it is what it is.
Who did he want to knock out? Who did he want? He went on somebody's show?
About a year ago, he went on Mike Tyson's podcast, and Hearns was on there, and you could see Hearns is aging, rough.
Yeah, he's done.
All right, and he was in a war with Hagler. He didn't sit there
so many
and
wars.
like
That's why Leonard would pick his spots. He knew Hagler had a lot of wars. He knew Hearns had a lot of wars before he gave the second fight.
and he says, "I'll knock you the F out right now." And
Hearns
he
should
was
have
dead
picked up a
serious.
chair and cracked it right over his fucking head. Excuse my language.
Well, I think Leonard was a little
Sorry,
shocked
guys.
when Leonard. I think Hearns was a little. Leonard was a little shocked when Hearns
Can't
did
beat
get
him,
up
figure
and
out a
say,
way.
you know, if Hearns lands on him, good night, Sugar Ray again. But the problem in the first fight with Sugar Ray and Hearns was, once again, Emmanuel Stewart, a great trainer, never taught him how to hold on, because if he hit you at 147 pounds, good night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
in between that fight, after Leonard won, he came back and he predominantly worked on defense and holding in training camp, because he was never hurt before. Never. I mean, I watched a fight about a month ago with another content creator. It was Hearns versus Aaron Pryor in the amateurs.
Oh, the whole fighter, bro.
In the amateurs, though, what a fight, man. You got to see. Tommy Hearns looked like a pencil with a bigger eraser on it.
Imagine being 6'2", 147 pounds. I mean,
forget about it. I mean, talk about skinny. This guy had no legs, and that hurt him.
His calves were like fucking pencils. His thighs.
And that's what hurt. But that's what hurt him too. He had no balance.
He was so long. He fought that Kronk style boy. He hit that like a piston jab and that straight right hand. Woo!
But when he came out against Hagler and fought Hagler the way he did,
he went for it. At least he went for it.
He's going to go down his history as a warrior, just like Holyfield.
I believe he's 7-time different weights champ, like 7 different weight classes.
Welterweight, super welterweight, junior middleweight,
light heavy, cruiser. The guy's won 7.
Light heavyweight and cruiser, 6 divisions.
Yeah.
Chris, Lennox Lewis was a great technician, but boring as shit to watch. Absolutely. You know, I think Lennox Lewis, but I'll tell you a fight to go back and watch, and we'll show it one night when we show quick knockouts. We'll throw that one in there. Lennox Lewis versus Razor Ruddock, because Ruddock is originally from Jamaica, went to Canada.
Razor Ruddock.
Hold on a second. And there was a little bit of a, rivalry of Razor Ruddock and Lennox Lewis in Canada, of all places, because Ruddock's family.
Jamaican, right?
Well, no, Lennox is from England, but Razor was from Jamaica, and they had both moved to Canada for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Ruddock predominantly stayed there until he retired.
Yep.
And when he got in there with when Lennox got in there with Razor Ruddock, for real, he destroyed him. Literally destroyed him. I mean, so Lennox Lewis had the tools, but he didn't really want to use them only if he had to. He'd rather box you, and that's what cost him against Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman. He got caught being lazy.
Hasim Rahman, boy, that guy had power. Remember that fight? I don't know who Rahman was fighting when his fucking eye was like this.
I think he would have beat Lennox Lewis easy, Chris. I think Holyfield always would have gave him a good fight, because I think Holyfield had no effing fear. Holyfield didn't care. You got to remember something. Holyfield came out as a 170-pound fighter, went right up to cruiserweight after 2 fights, and he grew himself into be a heavyweight. But Holyfield had no fear. Even though he had some difficult fights, with a couple of guys, he had no fear, man. The guy was a true warrior.
James Toney.
BX. James Toney fought Razor Ruddock on November 9th. Or
Another
November
guy.
11th.
A lot of weight classes.
They just fought recently. And this past November, they just fought.
Unbelievable. He's looking to mix it up. Yeah, he's looking to mix it up with Shannon Briggs in some sort of MMA shit.
Who's he fighting? Shannon Briggs. He's fighting Rampage
Rampage,
Jackson.
but that's been going on for 2 years. It's common. It's funny though. I enjoy it. Them going at each other.
Bucky, the Hearns knockout of Duran. Duran was out. He fell face forward.
Have you ever seen Duran face planted like that? Outside of what he did to Pepino Cuevas.
I've never seen any of the guys in that group knocked out like that. Not even when Hagler knocked out him.
Yeah.
Vinny Paz is my boy, Dave.
Yeah, Tony knows that's his guy.
Can't say nothing bad about Vinny Paz.
I love, of course, in my home, you love Vinny Paz, of course. But I was more of a Mancini guy. I'll say it. I didn't like I know, Tone, we say it for what it is.
Bad dude, man.
I thought he was too flashy. I didn't like all the flash. And I thought he wanted to be too much like Camacho.
Who's that, Vinny?
Yeah, that's not to say he wasn't a great fighter. That's just not my.
You know what? I tell you what. Think of it this way: Vinny was the underdog his whole career. Marketability made him $1 million a fight fighter.
And I'm not saying he was great. I'm just, I like the guys that were more like the Joe Frazier's or the Ray Mancini's or even Hearns. He didn't showboat.
But you got to remember when he went to the Olympic trials. He didn't go to the Olympics. When he went to the trials, he was treated like shit. He was the only white guy in that building.
Who, Vinny?
Vinny was the only white guy out of 40-plus fighters at the trials. And he came out a champ in the Olympic trials, but he went pro instead of tried to go for the Olympics. He would have had to go through the nationals and all that stuff. And the payday was good, so he came out and went to the pros. And not for nothing, man. The guy came back from a broken neck. Came back from a broken neck.
I saw, I watched that movie. And I forgot that Kevin Rooney had him at the end of his career.
Yeah, Kevin was with him for quite a while.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Till I went back.
Duva gave up on him. Duvas just didn't want nothing to do with him. Duvas were looking more at that 84 team that was coming out, and they were like, the hell with him after he had a hard time with the weight against Mayweather.
Yeah.
Whereas promoter and trainer, father was the trainer, son was the promoter. You should have knew he couldn't make weight no more. He just couldn't make that weight. James Toney doesn't have the female manager. Jackie Callan, BX. She had a couple of good fighters come out of there. She was big in the Detroit boxing game. Very big in Detroit, Jackie Callan.
I'll tell you a story about Marvin Hagler, only story I know. Again, he was big in my house, so my old man loved him. So normally, as kids, you follow, Yankee fans. We were Yankee fans. So that's how we loved Frazier and Warren Ali fans. Warren Leonard fans, he loved Duran, he loved Hagler. So we tend to, pop like that. We like that. But I don't know what it was about, but it was something about his handlers. I think the Petronelli brothers or
Petronelli's had Hagler up in Massachusetts.
Right. And I don't know, somebody knew them, and so there was a lot of respect there. So everybody loved Hagler around here.
Let me answer this one question quick. Chris, quickest hands I ever seen. Meldrick Taylor by far.
Loved him. Great Olympian.
Meldrick Taylor hit you 10 times before you could get one off.
Remember
That's how fast he was. And he got robbed. The fight should have never been stopped. Never should have been stopped.
Meldrick Taylor, great Olympian. That's when he meant something to the United States.
Exactly. That was a great Olympic team, 76 and 84.
Teams were the greatest, and then all of a sudden they became the worst.
Meldrick definitely had the fastest hands I've ever seen.
You remember Vander in the Olympics? The guy was destroying everybody.
How about the two biggest robberies I've ever seen in boxing? Evander Holyfield and Roy Jones Jr. in the Olympics.
I don't remember
Roy Jones
getting that one again, and I followed it, but I don't remember it offhand. I'd have to go back. I remember
BX. Funny story. My friend, Kevin's friend, Kevin Kelly, fought Prince Nassim at the Garden. They had a plan to warm up in the ring because they knew the bullshit entrance was coming.
What is it? 40 minutes?
27 minutes.
Oh.
And it got heated, and Kevin got out of his game plan. But people don't realize Kevin knocked pretty.
They're dropping him. They're both.
But Kevin stayed. Once Kevin jumped out of the game plan and went away from the jab and tried to trade with him, big mistake for a guy that short. For a guy that short, he had dynamite in that right hand.
So, would you say Tony's the worst thing to do to fight emotional?
Well, that was the problem with Kevin. He got emotional with Gainer. He lost. The two fights, he split with Gainer, but he was very emotional with both of them. He knocked him out. He couldn't even see in the first fight. When he fought Eric Morales, he got very into it because there was personal problems, and he lost that fight. Kevin was Kevin's worst enemy. Freddie, another good friend of both of ours.
Yeah.
Freddie fought who's that kid he fought out in California?
Gabriel Ruelas.
I'm gonna tell you something that I'm sure you probably know. Freddie went to a different promoter for that fight. He kept Kevin, but he went to a different promoter.
I didn't know that.
He fought with a broken hand. His left hand was broken, and he had a broken hand in his right hand going into the fight. And they didn't care. Get in there. They gave him no time off to try and recover. He went in there with broken bones in his right hand, and his left hand was broken.
I spoke to Freddie a couple weeks ago. We were just bullshitting, and he said eventually he'll pop on. He's just shy. You know Freddie.
Chris, there was a guy. I'm glad you brought that up. There was a guy named James Scott, fought out of Roe prison.
I remember James Scott. Didn't he go to Roe prison? Wasn't he in prison for a long time?
Roe, life.
Yep.
He was in Roe, and he fought the guy. He fought the guy. He fought Dwight Muhammad Cowie in Roe. Yep. Now, Dwight Muhammad Cowie.
Prison. Yep.
Oh, wait. Do you know the backstory of that?
No.
Dwight Muhammad Cowie did 4 or 5 years in Roe, and his brother was
Mikey.
His brother was the leader of the biggest black gang in Roe. So when they got there, the announcers didn't know any of the shit back then. They didn't get into these in-depth interviews like they do today.
There was some gang shit going on.
Dwight Muhammad Cowie had more fans in the prison than he did, and he was the inmate.
Crazy.
I mean, it was wild, but could you imagine back in the day? Try and let somebody do that today. This man was serving a life sentence, and they had him on ABC Wide World of Sports every couple of months.
I think that was the only prison at the time that would allow that or some shit. I remember watching, and here I was a kid.
BX, I seen that. Not for nothing. You take this punk Gervonta Davis. I do not like him. He has no respect for his elders. But the problem with Bernard, and I do know Bernard Hopkins, is Bernard's going to think.
Bernard, I didn't like the act, but go ahead. Great fighter.
Bernard's going to think he's the toughest guy in the room till he dies. And you know what? He another guy who didn't start till he was late because he did 10 years in the joint. Bernard was a good fighter, great technician, but he got in there with a couple of guys. I don't remember the one guy's name.
Did my guy Bernard at the end, did Joe Calzaghe give him a beating, or was it Roy Jones he gave a beat?
He beat both of them.
Right.
But
Bernard being upset.
Calzaghe was a guy from Wales, and he was one of the best super middleweights I ever seen.
Underrated technician.
And he walked away. He retired smart.
Away.
I seen an interview of him recently. The guy's in his.
Calzaghe.
He just turned 50.
He retired with a great record, if I remember.
Undefeated.
You know.
I want to say 39-0, but I'm probably wrong. I know he was up there around that mark.
I'll tell you, there's not many sports, Tone. Maybe, and I'm learning to love that because one of my youngest loves the international soccer. So I started to watch a lot of the European soccer, but that's about the only sport. I'm sure cricket or some shit, and I'm not a big basketball guy, but there's not much sports I won't talk. I love talking about, from
well, I tell you what I would, what I would like.
Our group is. That's what makes it great.
What I'd like to do, and it's too long to do a whole game, but I want to break up an old Flyer Bruin game or an old Flyer.
It'd be awesome.
Or an old Flyer Ranger game. You guys want to see fights? Dave Schultz. Oh, come on, man.
Hold on.
Terry O'Reilly. What do you got?
My man Joe Town Jack.
Yes, I was at
some of the greatest.
I was at 2 of the 3 of the fights. I mean, I wasn't at the first one. Yeah, I was at the dinner that we had at the Waterfront Crab House with both of them. I got pictures with them. We'll put it up next time. I'll give it to you when I'm in New York next week.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Was that in between us having a brawl at a football field or after?
No, that was after the brawl.
Did you have to throw that sweatsuit away?
I didn't get that sweatsuit dirty, bro.
That
was called. Never got that sweatsuit dirty, but I never wear it again. I kept it in the closet.
My brother Joe said to me, anybody that's ready to ruin a sweatsuit like that's all right with me.
I got that sweatsuit at Take 8. That's when they were making the custom-made Sergio Tacchini.
Sorry, guys, I got lost in the fucking time warp.
Hold on 1 second. I got to use the restroom.
Well, OG Mike's got something great to share. OG, we fought Eric. Yeah, OG, Eric Morales, TJ Mexico, great fight. Mike, you must know, I worked with a guy by the name of Raul Alda. He married David Benavidez' aunt. So there's a relation there. So he used to just talk to me about both Benavidez brothers, but I became a fan of David. Not that I disliked the other one. And he said some things to me that were personal about what he thought was holding them back. And it did show with the younger brother. I don't know it intimately. I've heard, some stories that, about why the one kid who has a lot of talent just can't put it together. And you could see who works his corner, and he does
Sorry
a
about
lot
that.
and he don't have to cash the checks that his sons have to cash. But I do think David Benavidez, hell of a fighter. But to you with Eric Morales, I mean, legend. Now, did you and your boys mix it up with these guys, or you just knew guys that were throwing around? Now, here's Tonio's in this.
What's he saying? If
He says
Jose
if
didn't get shot,
doesn't get shot, he would have been a problem. He's
who's he
probably
talking
right,
about?
but I had told him, he knew that I worked with his uncle, and he told me, the uncle told me Jose probably had more talent, but I'll say it, the father was not good for them in their corner. He just got out of the joint and he would say crazy shit, kind of like Danny Garcia's father in the beginning, but then he calmed it down. But this guy is totally out of control. And, he listened to his dad a lot. I don't know.
Danny Garcia's father has caused a lot of problems in Philly too in the gyms.
Yeah, but
that's why he put his own gym.
I'm just using him as an example. I happened to grow to really like Danny Garcia's dad I thought it became funny after a while.
Matt hung out with him a couple of times
what?
at a club in Delray.
But if you think about it, Devin Haney's father's another. I don't want to say the word. I don't want to say bad.
Devin Haney's father is a racist, plain and simple.
Yeah, it's obvious. I mean, come on, let's just break it down for what it is. Leave the color, the ethnicity out of it. Like we do in football, it's got nothing to do with it.
BX, they were at I think 800 and change, and 700 and change. Try and look it up if you can get the numbers. I remember
they threw crazy. It was crazy. I remember those wars were nuts.
Yeah, and you got to remember a couple of them fights had a lot of stopping the action because of knockdowns and because of warnings. But I mean, them guys became best of friends till the day Arturo was killed.
Tonio's got a point here. Your nephew.
What's that?
Jose Benavidez got shot, and shortly after that, he went 11 with Bud Crawford, who's one of the best that I think, and I follow it, but not like the MMA thing, but I watch every fight. OG Mike. Now talk about that. Then I want to say something about OG Mike.
I think honestly, Jose's a good fighter, but I think Crawford methodically will beat.
Yeah, he's been saying he went 11 with him after getting shot, so he had to have some talent.
He was a hell of a fighter. I mean, he had a heart.
Sometimes you can't be that close. I would never want to work my kids' corners. Even if I had the know-how. Motivation, yeah, I could, and there's certain things I could do, but I wouldn't want nothing to do with it. I'd be too emotional. I'd fucking jump over. I would be no good for them.
There's a kid coming out of Mayweather's gym. He's 17 years old. This kid is. I'll put up a video of him this week.
Text it to me?
I'm going to do a short of this kid this week. Unbelievable hand speed.
Wow. OG Mike just sent me a picture. He's in the room. Nothing but love, Mike, and respect. I knew when we first met. I knew, again, you were the real deal. He's got, at a press conference, OG Mike and some of the biggest names back then at a press conference. I wish I could.
Who are they?
If I put it up here, you won't see it right, because of the glare. I'll have to download it, crop it, and I'll put it up in the community page, Mike.
Who's in the picture?
It's awesome. He's at Tijuana. Well, Mike, we're using Tijuana, Mexico for this fight, or was it the West Coast? Because the reading, it's hard to really read it. And it's all written in Spanish. But he was fighting, I think, Eric Morales. You remember Eric Morales, Tony?
Yeah. Who was fighting Eric?
I believe OG Mike.
OG Mike, you fuck Eric Morales?
I believe, or one of his people did.
I was in San Antonio when Kevin Kelly fought Eric Morales.
Mikey's done a lot of things in his life, and
They fought at the Dome.
You belong in this crowd, Mikey. You good people, brother. That's Eric Morales. He's saying, "Wow, great fucking picture, bro."
Eric Morales, another guy that was a
I'll send
warrior.
it to you, Tony, right now. Okay.
Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera had a couple of great fights.
Marco Antonio
couple
Barrera.
of great fights.
I tell you, as you bring them up, I start to remember. Now, of course, Antonio, being in the gym a little bit, he says nobody is beating the monster, Shakur Stevenson. Nobody. Now, he's very opinionated, like his father. So,
well, as much as I don't like Shakur, who can beat Shakur right now in that division? Nobody. Zero.
You had a fighter, Mikey. Mikey saying he had OG Mike saying he had a fight at Kenny Mitchell. Tony, you know Kenny Mitchell?
Yeah, I heard. Which one though? There was a couple of Kenny Mitchells. What weight was he? The middleweight guy, and then there was I believe, a light heavyweight or a cruiserweight. Kenny Mitchell.
Tony, I just sent you the picture of Mike. What OG just sent me.
I got nothing
Tony,
yet.
you got to see the screenshot. OG Mike.
Just got it.
Eric Morales. You got to see this. I'm going to text. I wish I could send it to everybody. I'll get it on the community page, though. Yeah,
wow.
I know Antonio likes Shakur. I like Bud Crawford. The young guys today, I like Bud Crawford. I was happy he gave Errol Spence a beating. Outside of that,
Antonio, let me tell you something as a young man that I love. You're right. Everybody runs from him, including the women he beat the shit out of. That's why I will never cheer for him. Domestic violence, 2 times. 2 times domestic violence offender.
Oh, Shakur?
Yep.
Now, which one just became found Allah? I don't care. It's his business. But which one was that? Was that Shakur or Javante?
Probably Javante Davis.
Yeah, he's got a whole new name now.
Shakur turns me off what he did down here, man. I didn't like it. He got arrested in Maryland, and then he got arrested in Florida.
No, I think, let's face it, I used to think, it has to do with boxing, but, I used to think I knew a lot of tough guys and a lot of dangerous people, and they were in their own way. But until I spent a lot of time, it doesn't matter who I watch train, get ready for fights. Those are the tough guys, the guys that go and train like animals every day. There's more wars in the gym than there is when they get into that fight. And I got so much respect for these guys that they're the tough guys, not anybody else.
Well, I tell you what.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, but I'm going to make a...
Guys fucking work.
Somebody sent me a couple of videos today on how impressed they were at a 46-year-old Floyd Mayweather hitting the pads. He brought in a woman trainer. Okay. There was 2 things I watched, and I seen that, and I sent it back with the comments to Phil. Phil's in North Carolina, and he sent it to me. I said, Phil, there's 2 things here that you didn't pick up on. He goes, no, I want to see if you picked up on it. Number 1, after a minute and a half, he was winded as shit. Okay, and he's a month away from a fight. This is only 2 days ago, Saturday's training. The other thing is the girl was doing most of the work with the pads. So I'm not saying John's going to beat him, but I think John has a great shot at going the distance. I know I want to see him go to the distance. I know his aunt wants to see him go to distance. I just want to say there's a kid who's in the gym, and if anybody deserves some kind of victory after we got to put up with the first fight, it's him.
Mikey does a lot of he does like little shorts with self-defense, and I laugh so hard at this because not only my crazy father taught us this shit, I happened to be into a softball brawl one time. Antonio was a little kid. He's one of my son's guys, and we were in a brawl. A brawl breaks out of a softball game, and Mikey does in one of his videos, anything can be used as a weapon. Keep sand in your pocket. You can throw that in somebody's eyes. If you're a female, it gives you time to either get away or finish your business if you're a man.
You know what, Antonio, I disagree because he had to find his referee to stop the last fight because he didn't want to go the extra 2 rounds. I was right there.
Tonio's asking, what's up with Caleb Plant?
I don't know what Caleb Plant's doing. I think that fight he had with Benavidez kind of ruined him at the end there.
Telling you, my boy David's good, man. Why doesn't Canelo fight him? Why Canelo? I think he beats Canelo. I'll say it now. I don't give a shit. I got nothing to lose. I'm not betting it. I do think he'd beat him, though.
Listen,
I'm sure everybody's going to tell me I'm a jerk off. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. That's why we're here. We all have
John has to let it loose, but as white Italian Americans and as other people who listen, I support him 100%, and I do not believe he can knock him out when he wants to. He hit him with more punches than he hit any other fighter, and he didn't do anything to him in 2-minute rounds.
Thank you, Secret Mafia Grandpa. Thank you for stopping in, man. Thank you, bro. Stay with us.
That was the most punches Mayweather ever threw in an exhibition or pro fight, and he didn't do nothing. He didn't have a scratch on him. Trust me.
Were you a big Mayweather guy, Tony? Forget about talent. I mean,
I don't like him.
We all know.
I don't like him. He's another guy who beats women.
Yeah,
I'm not into that. I'm not into that.
Great defensive fighter.
Great defensive fighter or not. I mean, the guy lives a lifestyle where he beat women, and I'm not into that.
The only guy that really had him on the rope, Zab Judah, right?
What's he doing?
Zab Judah had him in trouble.
Antonio, you don't know what you're talking about. You're dead wrong. You're dead wrong.
On what?
I'm not even reading the comment. Stupid.
Oh, Tone, I know you're gonna say because he's my son. No, I agree with him. Maybe even know firsthand. How's that? No, I'm like,
you have no idea.
I don't know that. I don't know that. But everybody's entitled to an opinion, Tone.
Yeah, you're right.
Gotti Green. I thought, wait a second. I thought he was fighting John, right? And now how is Manny Pacquiao in the mix? I'm confused.
Manny Pacquiao's not in the mix.
So why are they announcing Pacquiao Mayweather again?
They might fight again.
Would somebody just fucking knock this Mayweather out already?
Well, I'm hoping John does it in February, weekend of the Super Bowl.
What's the next big fight, guys? I agree.
Looks like Fury and Usyk.
I know this is going to come from, you guys are going to think it's going to come from my MMA point of view. It's not. I think boxing is nothing of what it was even in the early 2000s. I think you got a handful of great fighters and nobody else. I think there's a lot of good matchups. I could be wrong. It's not like I study the tape like you do. I know a little bit.
Bucky, there's no set weight. It's an exhibition bout. Last fight, John came in the 170s, and I think Floyd was like 154.
Was the fight competitive? I didn't see
it.
What? I didn't see it.
I tell you what, I'm going to teach you something about life, Antonio. Money grabs is what makes people money. Anybody who wouldn't take a money grab is a fool. That's what life's about. If you can get the opportunity to capitalize, you capitalize. That's why people make money and people don't make money.
Well, not everybody would have got that chance to get in the ring with Mayweather either. Right?
And thank God he did. I think the kid's a great kid. I know the kid personally, and I hope he knocks his fucking head off.
Yeah, well, I wish you would fucking bury him, to tell you the truth. I'm tired of watching this guy fucking shoulder roll, and at 46 still nobody can touch his face.
Cinnamon Girl, that is the plan. I am
What's Cinnamon say?
Am I going to the fight? I believe I am.
To that one?
Yes.
Hey, you know what? That's what makes this great, man. Everybody has an opinion, and we're here to listen to it and give our own. And that's what this is about. Sharing, right? We
Correct.
might not agree, but at the end of the day, we come back and argue about something else. Or disagree or agree. That's what makes us.
Chris Gorky, I think that might happen. What's
What
up,
did Chris say?
Dubs? Chris Gorky said he thinks Donald Brazier would have beat Butterbean. That's a possibility.
Thanks,
I
Dubs. Tony Dubs has been trying to.
I believe he got my number. I believe he
All
got
right,
my
good,
number
good.
last night.
I think Donald Brashear, which Donald Brashear, when he was with the Flyers or he was with everybody? Oh, look who's in the house. If anybody can drop Staxy's link, give my boy Talent Stax a link.
BX, which one? Just give me a
Billy
city.
Stax, Talent Stax.
BX, give me a city. I think I was there the other day, if it's the one I think you're talking about. You can call me anytime, Dubs. Okay, no, I wasn't at that one. I was at the one in Boca.
Staxy, we gotta get you. I gotta get you. I think you're wrenched up, bud. I'll do it now, buddy. I think you should be. Yeah, you are. Dubs, how's everything going, Dubsy? I hope everything's okay, bud. I hope your mind is a little better. I know it's going to take time, but you always got a group here you can come and talk to, pal. What else? We got anything else on the agenda?
What fight would you guys like to see next?
Yeah, is there any blast from the past or something more recent you just want to break down and check out? Anybody get Mikey? You got anything you want to see? Chris? Anybody? Throw something out there.
Mikey, I agree. I agree 100%.
What Mikey's
I'm not getting into bullshit here, though, tonight. All right, guys. What fight you guys want to see next or event? Ruddock versus Tyson. We could actually run the two of them in one night if you guys want to see Ruddock and Tyson. We can show the difference and we can do the training and show the training. Cowie and Holyfield. How about that, Ma? Dwight Muhammad Cowie, for such a little guy, gave George Foreman and Evander Holyfield problems. And not for nothing, Cowie might have even had a victory over Holyfield in one of them fights.
I remember one of them could have, went his way.
Absolutely. I got to KO Mayweather, so Mayweather would come out of retirement to lose his belt to John.
This kid Beagle's good fighter, boy.
Guys, that was we should.
How about Deontay Wilder getting?
It was a bad comment, BX. It was a bad comment to start out with.
Fucking Wilder got his head kicked in.
Well, because he don't know how to box. All he's got is a knockout. Here we go.
And I think he blamed his outfit again.
You know, I'm going to say something here tonight, and I'm going to leave.
I got some good fights, but I don't want to be the one to be guessed. I want the subscribers, the guys.
I don't agree with bad-mouthing anybody, especially when they're homegrown and people are here. I mean, that's bad stuff. And, you know, I'm going to call it a night on that note. I don't agree with what the hell happened here tonight, man. So be good.